All right, guys. Welcome back. I know it's been long. We have been connected, right? But I also want to welcome you guys again in this journey of IIC Rise. I know there's some gap in this program of Python program, but let me very quickly revise what exactly we was doing, right. So this might be the 15th class or the session of this a program of Python. But even though in this limited classes, right, we have touched multiple different concepts of the Python, right. Very quickly, if I revise, we had discussing about how we can create your own API and doing some kind of web technological program that's called with the help of Python CGI. So every bit of the core CGI explain you, and plus some of the program of the CGI or API we have done. Plus, we have also started the data science, or I can say the base core of the data science. Maybe I touched on pandas or NumPy and matplotlib and other things also. In the terms of core concept of the data science, normally that we use at very base level in the machine learning and the deep learning. Okay. Plus, if you guys remember, we have already initiated one project. If you guys remember, some kind of menu program we have created. The beautiful thing was, right, beautiful thing was, initially I started the menu program just as a very text-based menu, right? Press 1 to run the date, or press 2 to run the calc program, right? But after those some classes, I show you how we can interact with the computer with our voice. Okay, so we talk, obviously I'm talking about the mic. So we convert this menu based program with a voice based control, something like you control your Alexa, or and Apple Siri, and something like this. So I'll speak and I say to my program, hey, can you please run the date program for me? Or maybe you run the Docker program for me, or cloud program for me. Depend, guys, with which kind of technology you have integrated behind your menu. And that was working great. Okay, so likewise, maybe some more concepts we have discussed in the Python, right. And the interesting part was, we had started a Python during from very basics. I can say what is the meaning of the programming language, and what exactly the meaning of the variables. So from there we have started this program, and just in 14 different classes we have touched these topics, and maybe some more topic we have touched, right. Okay, but important thing, guys, before I continue with the today's topic, my CGI topic is not yet completed. We have discussed the core. So this topic is not completely completed. This topic is not the completely completed, and this is also not this been done completely from my side. Okay, so just wanted to update you, because you guys don't think that data science is done and API is done, right. We have a lot of classes on this, but my intention is to give you a flavor that this is the one of the things you can do with the Python, or this is the one of the API thing or web technological thing you can do with the Python. Okay, so I'm taking I keep on picking multiple different context and the topics in between, so it give you a sense and different kind of concepts that can be solved or can be implemented with the Python as a language. But my main perspective, or my main approach, or my main thing in my initial classes is to cover all the core concepts of the Python. Maybe variables, maybe loops, maybe if or else conditions, maybe list comprehension we have done, maybe functions and something like this. So initial my focus would be to complete all this topic, and after you become comfortable with the file handling, maybe with the exception handling, maybe multi-threading, and lots of core other concepts of the Python. After you guys comfortable, maybe decorators, maybe. Okay, then we'll start pick one of the topic, and we'll go in deep. For example, in the web technology, we might go in deep with the Flask as a framework, or maybe here NumPy, Matplotlib, and maybe some more advanced visuals tool we discussed there, or maybe here in the voice control or in my menu based program we will convert this menu base, maybe in the web technological way, or maybe with some kind of TUI program, right? So it's a long program, guys. I already told you almost everything what is available in the Python we will cover in this program. Okay, but before I start with the today's topic and tell you the today's agenda, the only obviously this program is under IIEC community, and under the campaign called Rise. Obviously it is free of cost, there is no charge, anybody can learn, but in important thing is not about free, important thing is about the right education, right? That's I keep on promoting. Okay, so we are going, guys, we had already discussed lots of concepts, basic concept, even though that was very basics, but it is not properly delivered in the market, and without having the right concepts, right, nobody can create something new on the top of this. That I always, guys, keep on talking on it, right? So let's continue with the today's topic. In my last class, guys, if you have gone through, I had discussed something about, I think, about NumPy and pandas. Very high level overview I have done on NumPy and the pandas, but that topic is not yet completed. We will, guys, again continue with this topic in my upcoming classes, right? But today's my plan is to talk something about management. What I mean by this, right? Maybe till now, guys, because I have given you multiple tasks to do or multiple homework kind of things, or maybe I have told you whichever concepts, or I can say whichever the technology you guys are comfortable on. Okay, just start writing or creating a program inside a menu program. So that's what we have started in my initial classes, and start converting your concepts into the code. And guys, if you're doing so, right, whatever technology you know, maybe cloud or maybe Hadoop, maybe Docker or XYZ, or maybe just you write some general program for date command or cal command and something like this, right? So if you're really doing this the task, whatever I keep on asking you, okay, so you guys might think or might see the file where you are writing your code, typically known as program file. So you guys might see your program file become bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, right? And maybe we have just started this program, right? But maybe about what you'll see at the end of this program, right? You'll see a program file become huge, maybe of hundreds of pages. Mostly I've seen after this kind of program completed from my end, this program file size maybe in thousands of pages, right? So the point over here is you are the developer of your code. You are writing some kind of program or doing some kind of task or maybe some kind of projects, right? And you know what you will see after a certain time, even though this program is created by you and entire code is written by you, right? But after a certain time, you will start feeling very, by looking at this code, it look very overwhelming, very complex, very harder to understand what exactly written, why we written this code. And you'll see sometime, most of the times, the duplicacy of the code. One code you write once for doing something, and same code you write one more time, and same code you write one more times, right? To doing the same thing. Okay, so technically, guys, before we go ahead and write some more code, it is always good to, at this time, full stop whatever exactly we're doing here, and try to manage the code in the best possible way. Okay, so today's, guys, I'm talking more about how you can manage the code. So there will be no complexity, your single file not become so much bigger. We have to write the code. Obviously, if you have a big requirement, a big project, your code might goes maybe of millions of lines. Okay, obviously it's good. Better, more the code you have, better features you have, right? So I don't want you to stop the code, but rather than it become so much complex that we won't able to understand our own code, okay, better start doing some kind of proper management, so that our code can be easily managed by us, or plus can be also understood by other person. Maybe possibility that whatever the task or the projects you guys are working on, you would like to take this project at the next level, and you want to create your own software, and maybe you want to launch the software as your startup, and then in that time you become successful, more guys, more team will join you, so they will work on your code. If your code is not clear, properly managed, so it will be harder for other team members to work on your code, right? So technically I would like to talk more about the management. That's my main thing. And if you really want to manage the code in any of the language, not in the Python, in any of the language, one of the basic concept that we always use is called function. Function. And that, guys, this function topic we already did, right? Not everything we have discussed about the function, but there's some more advanced concept of function. Maybe today, if we got the time, we will discuss some more advanced concept of the function. But function is not the today's main topic. Okay, today main topic that I believe is the one of the best way to that help us to manage the code. It is called module. So today's, guys, we are talking about how not to use the module, because everybody know here how to use the module. So because we have used import command multiple times. So for example, import subprocess, import OS or something, or maybe import numpy. So whatever, guys, you import is module. So we know how to import the module. But today we are going to discuss how we can create our own custom module. That's what I would like to discuss. And you know what you will see, guys, after there's a lot of document available in the market to show you how to create the module. And in the Python, creating the module is not a big deal. But the way I'm going to take this topic and my approach here to take this topic is you'll see finally the main use case of having our own module is to manage something, or mainly I'm talking about manage the program file or to manage the code. Okay, so let's see, while having multiple practicals, you'll come to know what I'm talking about. Okay, but before this, let me very quickly, in a 2 minute, let me revise the functions, because this is a very common thing we have to use inside the module. We discussed already function, but let me very quickly discuss how we can create the function in the Python program, because it's been long gap in this program. So everybody be in sync with me. Then we move to the module, and we'll focus on the module. And if we got some extra time, we will again come back to the function topic and see some more advanced thing about the function. So today's agenda is is module. Then we might go to function, right? So for today's practical, what I'm doing here in my laptop, I have Oracle VirtualBox, all right, and inside this I have one OS installed of Red Hat version 8 Linux. It is one of the Linux flavor. Maybe, guys, if in my last classes in this IISc Rise, I might have not used the Linux operating system, but I told you Python is a cross-platform language. You can write the code and run maybe on the top of Windows, maybe in the top of Android phone, maybe on the top of Linux, and maybe Mac. So code would be almost same, and the same code you can run in any of the operating system, because Python is a cross platform language. Okay, so you can, whatever code I'm writing today, you can write on the top of Linux, in the tops of Windows also, or maybe in the Mac also. But I'm just to some small reason, I'm showing this code on the top of my Linux operating system. And by chance, right now, the Linux operating system that I'm booting right now, running right now, is Red Hat Linux version 8. Okay, so let me start from here. But before, guys, I start today's topic, I have one small homework for you, or as one small task for you. Okay, and I'm just going to show you one scenario. Okay, and I want you just try that how and what kind of approach you can use to solve this particular scenario. So let me start with some homework or one task, then we'll move to the module topic. So my Linux has been started, but guys, don't worry if you are not comfortable with the Linux operating system, you can use your the same older OS whatever you're using in my last classes. Okay, so task and the homework is something like this. Let the system boot up. And in the Linux, guys, I'm opening the command line terminal. Okay, and what I'm doing here, first of all, I'm just creating one folder. Let's say this is Rise. I just you guys know why we create the folder. It is our workspace. Let me go inside my workspace. It is empty folder, and I'm going to create one file here. Like in Linux, we use Notepad. In the Linux, we can use gedit to create a file. And I'm going to create a file. Let's say my.py. Okay, and what exactly I'm doing inside this file, and let me first, guys, write every and share all the steps to you. And guys, this is the same document of Google, that Google Drive, and that links we have already shared with you. So every step by step I'm sharing in my Google Drive, so you can use your the concept I'm discussing today, and the code I'm writing today, everything you can find in this Google Drive. Okay, so what I'm doing here, first of all, guys, this is a program file. I normally start the program file with print and something like hi, and just I save the file. Nothing very special here. It's just a print code. I save it. You can see file created, and I'm going to run this code with a Python 3 interpreter, and the file name is this one, just for testing. So just for testing that my system has a Python 3 interpreter, and the code has no error, and output also come up. So till here everything working good. But what I'm doing here, in my last classes, I explained you guys about the function. So if you don't want to run this statement and you want to control this statement, so you can create a function. In the Python, we have a def keyword. You can give a function any name. Let's say I'm giving a function A. Because this function, I write a parenthesis here, colon. And you guys know in the Python, we have to follow indentation. So I'll indent this code. Okay, and now you guys know this thing. The function has been created, and this is the block of the code. Until the time, guys, we'll call the function, the block of code never run. So we discussed this part. We had one single class, the entire class on the function. So let me call this function. And the good thing about the function is, right, let me first quickly run it. I know you, and you guys also know what the output will come up. So the same output come up, right? But good thing about the function is, okay, there would be a lot of time lots of time you'll see some of the lines and some of the code that you have to write multiple times, and you have to run multiple times. Okay, so what can you do? Instead, you write the same code again and again. Okay, write this code only once, put this entire code, give some name. Here the name is A, and this entire box is known as function. Okay, and whenever you guys want to run this code, right now maybe this is one single line, but if you start working on some project, similar kind of line, maybe hundreds of lines that you have to always type and always run, and not only once, maybe hundreds and thousands of times. Okay, so that is the reason, guys. That is the reason why we have to create the function. So in my function class, this concept we have already discussed in very detail. So good thing is we can call this function as much as time we want. So I call 3 times, so I don't have to write this entire code, hundreds of lines of code. Let's think in this way, again and again. So function is again one of the good way to manage the code. It makes the code smaller, it makes the code clear, and one more way function help you that I will explain you when I start today's main topic called module. But you guys know all the important uses, or I can say the use case of function, right? Till here you guys know the concept. Okay, but let me do one more thing. Let me create one more function here. And in this function, what I'm doing here, I'm just printing some text here. Let's say BBB, and let's say in this function I'm printing a text called A. Okay, so pretty straightforward. And I'm calling A as a function here. I'm also calling B as a function. So nothing very fancy here. Okay, so when you run this code, my system will learn in the top of the memory or RAM and say we have one variable, and this variable contains statement. And why I'm saying this, so guys, if you go through my function classes, by chance you may just go through those classes, right? I explain you there, especially in the Python as a language, whenever you create a function. Here I have given the function name a. For us it is a function, okay, but internally, in the if you talk about the Python perspective, internally they create one variable called a, right, in the top of RAM and the CPU, and in this variable they write all these statements and all this block of code behind the scene. Okay, and that is the reason that is the reason, guys, we sometimes this variable also known as a reference. So they create a reference of the function, and in this reference they memorize on the memory or on the top of RAM that whenever anybody call this function, okay, not give the reference but call this function, right, we will execute or run all the statement whatever they have in this block of code. So this part, guys, I've discussed in very detail from very basics in my function classes. So technically, whenever you run this Python code, right, what happened initially? They will first create this reference, or I can say the variable, on the top of RAM. Then they create this variable on the top of RAM. Means they're trying to memorize the first step. They're trying to memorize the second box and block here, and I can say function here. And then when they reach to this third line here, let's say this line by this parenthesis, we actually, you know what we are doing, the meaning of this parenthesis is we are asking a that a, you are reference your variable. What I'm would like to do, I want please go to your RAM, and whatever we have here in your box and your block and function, I want please go and run one by one or execute all the statement one by one. So this is called, guys, calling the function. So even though, guys, this part you know, but what I'm would like to emphasize here is, right, first when you reach here, a as a function will call and run. Or in the a, if you have one statement or 10 statement, till the time all the statement complete and finish executing, okay, a is keep on running. A is keep on, we can say we keep on executing a as a function. But yeah, after a completely executed, then my system or my Python code or my operating system go to b function and call this function, and same thing happen over here. Okay, so what I mean by this here, okay, it means if I change some code here, and you guys know while loop, and so let me create one while loop inside this function, and you guys also know in the while loop, if you want to run this loop as an infinite loop, you can use true as a keyword here, and let me put this code inside the loop, while loop, and same thing let me do inside b. Inside b, okay, and I'm putting this code inside the while loop. Now what happened? Okay, the way I explain you, if I call a as a function, okay, this function I'm calling here, it means a, you have to run yourself till the time you completely executed. The challenge here is inside the a function, right, we have a while infinite loop, and you guys know the meaning of infinite loop, they never complete. It is a infinite, right, infinite time they run. Or because the a never complete, okay, so it won't go to the next statement or next function or next line. So in this example, guys, in this example, let me share this example also, because this is your homework. Let me explain you. But if I try to run this code, what you will see, guys, in this function, right, a is keep on running, or because a function is keep on running, they keep on printing a. Okay, if you see is infinite loop, it's never stop till the time energy is exists in this world. My laptop is running, and this will never stop. Okay, because a never stop, so they never go to b function, and because if they never go to b function never execute. Okay, so what's your homework? Okay, your homework is, guys, this is the code I'm sharing with you. I already shared with you in a Google Drive. I want you just try to do something in this code. Okay, don't change this function. Don't change anything in the function. Think this function is created by some of your developer in the company. Think this is the function you download some from internet. So you can't change the a function, you can't change the b function, you have to change something here. Again, I'm repeating, guys, don't change it in this function, right? Just think this is the fix, you can't change. Okay, you have to change something here in such a way that I can run a, or I can see output of a function also, or I can see the output of b function also in the same time. Again, I'm repeating, guys, technically a function never stop, that's true. B function never stop, that's also true. But what I want here, what I have, at least I have to try that if A is keep on running, so I don't want B will keep on waiting for me till the infinite time, right? I have to do something here that A and B both run parallel at the same time. Okay, so guys, this is the one of the tasks I would like to give you. Just try it, and if you do, if you've done this, lots of great use cases in the programming world or in the technological world we can solve here. Okay, so this is one task, very small. By this task, guys, I already explained you my function also. Again, we repeat this concept, but my task is this one: how we can run this both the function or call both the function in parallel. Okay, so this is one homework and task I would like to give you. So let's come to our main topic for today. Okay, so main topic is how we can manage the code. That's called module. And one of the way to manage the code is to create the function. Okay, so let me start from here very quickly again. Okay, so what I'm doing here, I'm going to create a file. Let's say the file is aa.py. And what I'm doing here, because we know we have a requirement, maybe guys, if you have gone through my many program, so we write press 1 to run this one, press 2 to run this one. And if you really done this task, maybe you might have seen lots of time, sometime most of the code we have to write again and again and run again and again. So here that challenge you can solve with the function. Let's say this is the code we have. Let's say A. This is a code we have. Let's say hi. This is a, let's say this is 200 lines of code, and I don't want to write this code again and again, but we have to run this code again and again. So you guys know how to solve this. We can put this code in one box, and let's say the box name is IIEC1, and put here this become function, and we write here. You guys know this part. So it's become function. Okay, but the point over here is, right, you know what? When you start working on some big project and start writing the software, you will see, guys, lots of code that you keep on, you have to run multiple times. You can put in the function, but technically you have to create lots of function. For example, IIEC 2. And again, this function all have to run some code as a B. Okay, or maybe you have to write more function. So guys, maybe this code you don't have to now write multiple times, write only once and call this function. But it's not the only code, right? Hundreds and thousands on different kind of code you have to write, and maybe put in the boxes like it's called functions here. Okay, so finally you will land it and to this one file called aa.py is called program file. And you see this program file is so big, so complex, I mean to say here, very big, right, in the terms of hundreds of functions we have, and maybe some other code without the function also we have here. Okay, so what I'm trying to tell you guys here is, right, in the programming world, if you are working on some project, in the project you have to write the software, I can say the program file. In the program file you have to write the code, but this code is actually solving some use case. What they're solving, they are doing something in your project. Okay, but this if the project is for something, right, is for something, so what can we do? We can group our function, group of functions. For example, maybe let's say this function is about some college or some university. So maybe we have 100 different functions. Okay, out of 10 of the function may be related to your examination, 10 of function may be related to the jobs and companies coming, maybe 10 of function related to your instructor and teachers, and maybe some other function related to management or admin. Okay, so what, rather than what I'm talking about, rather than because we have to write a program for some university, and university we have to do 100 different things, maybe again and again. So we write again, rather than we type hundreds of things again and again, we write all the things and same thing in one box called function. So 100 function we have written. Okay, but we know after this 100, 10 things is related to the students. And whenever we need something related to student, we have to call any of the function, maybe student marks, student name, student email ID finding, or maybe their fees and other activities we have to do. So technically what I'm talking about, right, function is a way to manage the code. Okay, but if you have hundreds and thousands of functions available, we also need some way to manage my function according to the domain, according to the use case, and similar kind of functions that related to the same thing, like here student or teachers or maybe jobs and something like this. And if you want to manage the function, right, here the role of module come in play. Module come in play. What I mean by this? So what I'm doing here, for example, let's say these two function is related to student. Let me write it here. This is student related function 1, or this is student related function 2. Like this, we have 100 or 10 different functions, right? Okay. So what can we do? What can we do, right? Just create. Let me do in this way to make it more clear. Copy this code. So what can we do here? We write one file. Let's say the file name is called mystudent.py. Okay, and all the function or my software has some feature is exactly equal to your function, because whenever software do something, like for example, let's say you have VLC player, and in the VLC player you play, you pause, you create a playlist, right? So whatever activity do, it's called feature, and feature normally in the program is managed by functions. So every function has one responsibility to manage one feature. So in the software, for one feature you create one function, and in one function we have a code. Okay, something like this, right? For function is you can think it is somehow related to the feature. But I know in my college we have lots of features for the student, lot of things or lot of responsibility we have for the students, and for all the features we created functions. Let's say two functions we have created, student 1 and student 2. So this file that I write over here has only one, or I can say this code is a pure simple Python code, and this code we write all the features and all the functions only related to student. Why? I just want to manage separate file or program file, okay, only for the students, so that all the student related functions we can write here. Similarly, what I'm doing here, let me create one more file, and this file is again file, let's say it's called my teacher.py. And in this file we write all the functions. Let's say this is a teacher 1, and let me write here T1, teacher 1, and teacher 2. And let me change the message also, hi teacher 1 and hi teacher 2. Okay, so this file I created only for the teachers. The teacher related activities or features or function we manage from this file. Okay, now if you notice here in this folder we have two files. Let's forget about these two files. These two files here. This file this is a pure Python code, contain a lot of features that is equals to functions only related to students, and this file contain function only related to teachers. Now what can we do? Okay, why we need function? So that we don't have to write this function again and again, or we don't have to write this code again and again. But why we create this separate file? Because okay, this file contain a feature or function related to teacher. And this feature and function we can run anywhere. There may be possibility, we have one more file, and this is my this is my main file, or I can say this is my core file of my project. Okay, and what I want in my core file or the main file, if you guys go through my menu program, okay, so in the menu program we have created the main file that we always run. That's called menu.py. So that was my main file, or I can say my core file. So let's say in this project, let me share this code first of all. Okay, so so let's say guys in this project, this is the main file, and whenever I want to execute your project, this is the main file you always run. But what I want guys, in my main file, I don't want to write this code again and again. For this, I put all the code in my function. Okay, but because I put everything in my function, so what can I do? Okay, whenever you want to do something on the student, let's say one of the feature the student want to do, for example, feature number 2. So just go to this file and say there is one function we already created. Just please go and run this code. That's all. So guys, finally what you will see, okay, the main code that you always double click and always execute will have very limited code, very clean code. Maybe this name is not also good. We also the good code or good code readability say you'd always give a function a clean name. Let's say this is a student feature for job or student for fee. There's always try to give a good name in variables and the functions. There's a different point. But main point over here is in your main or basic code, you're asking that somewhere we have a student 2 function written, and this code student function maybe had thousands of lines of code. Please go get the code from there and run it. Okay, that's all. So finally guys, if you again come back to the concept that I was explaining to you, that was, if you create your software, you will have a program file, and program file code maybe thousands lines of code you have created, right? But if you talk about the management, right, it is always good practice. Just think about your software and project and try to create similar kind of things, put in a functions per feature basis. This function equal to feature. Okay, and similar kind of features or functions try to manage in separate programming file. And you know what guys, this programming file, okay, in the programming language perspective is also known as module. And guys, that is actual meaning of the module. Module is exactly equals to programming file, but technically this programming file we normally used to manage the functions. I'll give some example. There is already created functions or module we have used a lot of time. Okay, so so what I'm talking about, finally, if you see this, for anybody, this is just a Python program file. But if you open this program file contains a lot of code and functions. So technically this is a program file, but our intention from this file, guys, if you notice here in this file, we are not calling any code, or we are not running any functions, or we're not calling any functions. We just write the functions, write the features. That's all. Okay, why? Because somewhere we would like to use this, somewhere in my core file. So if this is the scenario, so in this scenario, this file is known as program file, but technically this file is known as module. And that's all guys. So finally we already know how to get the module, but this might be the first time you might seeing in this way. So this is guys, this is the way to get the module. Let me show you guys with this demo. So let's say this is your base code file. And in this file, what I'm doing here, I have I have one function written somewhere. So let me one minute, what happened? So let me call the function. Let's say the function name is student2 function. Okay, save. That's all, done. So I can say this code for py is one of my now I can say this is my program file. And why I say this program file? Program file means where writing the program, or when I say we are writing the program, means we are running the program. Or in the function perspective, if you say you are running the program, it means you are calling this program. Because if you see this symbol we use, it means we are calling or executing the program. So I can use this term called this is my program file. Now, because this is your program file, so you can say Python 3, can you please run this program file? And when I run this program file, this function run. Now what happened? Let's see. So when I run this program, it's failed. And right now this program file or program is saying, I don't know who is st2. Because when you are running me or executing me, I am running all of my code inside me. So you just tell me to call this. But I don't know where this function, because in my code, this function is not written. It's not defined. So can you please help me? Can you please help me where this function has been defined or written? Okay. And that is a reason, guys, whenever you are calling any function, right, that is not written by you, or maybe written by somebody else, or maybe written by you in other file, okay, you have to load that file. Because I know this function is written in a separate file, and name of file is this one. Name of file is this one. So what you have to do, you have to include this file, and this include is equals to, we have to load this file. Okay, and we know this file is is not a file. You can say file, but it's not here. It's not known as file. Here it is known as module. So we have to load the module. And for how to load the module, we have to use a keyword called import. Okay. And the good thing is, whenever you use the import keyword, okay, you have to just give your file name. You don't have to give the extension. So import command automatically go to your current folder. Wherever you're running this code, and try to find, do you have any program file with this name? If yes, do you have this file has extension.py? Yes. If this is a scenario, right, whatever code we have in this file, just load it, import it. Means it is equals to, you can think it is equals to that they will copy the entire code, okay, in this file. You can think in this way. But they copy not on the hard disk, they are copying on the top of RAM. So this line is equals to, okay, whatever the code we write in this file or module, it is same thing. Okay, they load the entire code. Maybe in my case the code is only 5-10 lines or 4-5 lines with the two functions. So entire code they load on the top of the RAM. Okay, and then they're looking for this function. So does this function available there? If yes, they will run for you. So let me guys again run this code. Okay, so now if I again run this code, let's see what happened. Again we have the error. Why we have the error? Because I explain you, and again guys, just try to understand this concept one more time. Okay, whenever you one moment please. Whenever you write this keyword, this keyword will go and load the entire code of this file. Means of this file with .py extension. And guys, this is the only time where it is compulsory to have a .py extension. But till now guys, I told you in my initial classes, if you write .py or if you don't write py extension, it will work for you. But this is the only case, or one of the case I can say, where having .py extension in the Python is compulsory, otherwise it won't work. But technically this line will get the entire code, all the functions load on the memory on the RAM. But you know guys, when they load on the RAM, so in the RAM they also create one kind of variable typically known as reference. Okay, and in this variable they ask this variable to memorize the entire code. Means to memorize that we have two functions. In the function we have some of the statements or some of the block of code. Memorize everything. And you know what the name of this variable is? Your Python code will create this variable name for you. and the name of this variable is equals to the name of this file. So technically, internally, they create a variable called my student internally, and inside this variable, or inside this reference, or I can say inside this box, right? Is equal to reference. They put entire code on the top of RAM, and or I can say the memory, or I can say they create one space on the RAM and they put there. And that is the reason, guys, this is also known as namespace. NS, namespace. So this is the, guys, technical word we use. So technically, okay, technically, whenever you call this program file, how you call with the import function, then Python treat this guy as a module. And when they treat this guy as a module, or whenever you run this line, they create one namespace, or I can say reference on the RAM, and put entire code in this box, in this namespace. Okay, this is one thing. And because we have put entire code in this namespace, okay, or in this variable, so what we have to do, we have to tell this code, this code, that we have one variable, and inside this variable this function is written. And guys, that is a reason, right, we have to write this way, my student dot st2. It means this function is not directly in my main program code.py. This function is there in reference or in namespace my student. So if anybody want to run this function, first go to this reference or in this box or in this namespace, just go and find this function. If this function is there, just call and run this function. Save. And now if I guys try to run this code, now you can see proper output come up. So this is the code we have I have executed here. So so what they've done, they go to this file or this module or this program file and run this function. And what we had written in this function, we have written just print B. So they printed B for us. Okay. So guys, this kind of code we have done multiple times. If you remember, let me call my Python 2. So we have run this function multiple times, system function, and we run some kind of command here. But you always, guys, see this is a function written by somebody or maybe written by you. Okay, but it's failed. Why? Because this function is a part of one module, and name of the module called OS module. Now, guys, you might understood, guys, this OS is not a module; it is just a program file. And in this program file, there's a lot of functions, and all the function we load on the RAM, and wherever we load the entire code and all the function of this program file or module, we give a reference name or the namespace name called OS. And now I'll tell my OS that inside your box or namespace, we have this function. Just go and call this. This kind of example we have seen multiple times. So maybe today you guys might maybe get the idea of why we use this syntax. Okay, and that is the reason, guys, when you use import OS, that is the reason this OS is actually not known as, technically it is a program file, but it is not known as program file. Here in this world, it is known as module. Because it's a module, it's a box, right? Or it's a namespace contain a lot of functions. And that is the reason, guys, this function, actually this is a function, right? Obviously this is a function because we have written this, we know this. But technically here, this function is, maybe you can use the word function, but in this world, this function is known as method. Because if you try to understand the way I start, okay, we are creating a lot of functions, okay, but we are managing this function in one file, and we know this file is related to student, and every function is doing something for me. Every function is doing is a feature for the student. Okay, and this function may be getting the fees of the student, maybe this function is getting the marks of the student, or maybe email address of the student. So this function is a one method for me for doing one thing. So this might be reason why we don't use the word function we can use, there's not harm in this, but in this world of module, it is actually known as method. Okay, so again, this is module and this is method of this module. Okay, but internally now we know, because we know how to create a module. Okay, internally we know this is actually a program file and this is the function written in this program file. Okay, so that's what it is. So if you want to create sorry, your own module, that's so pretty straightforward. You have to just create a program file. If you want to create your own method, just go to this program file and write functions 1, function 2, depend upon your requirement. And it is not like this. We normally create a function, without any region. We always have some region behind it. Okay, the region is per method, per feature. What is my requirement is what I'm looking for. Why you think this code we have to run multiple times, run it. So technically, guys, if you overall think what I discussed till now, I'm purely talking about the management of my code. Okay, how we have to manage the code. So finally, if I summarize till now, so if you want same code, keep on, you don't want to write again and again, but want to run again and again, put the entire code in one box, and this box called function. But if you want to manage function, or I can say feature, or similar kind of function 1, function 2, function 3, or you think these are the similar kind of functions for different function, obviously, but for same thing, you put all the function in one box, again called module. Okay, but if you want to use the module, you have to load this module on the top of RAM. And how to load? We have to import. How? With the import function. But guys, when you import this module on the RAM, then this module is also, technological world, is also known as namespace. And whenever, guys, in any of the programming world, if you see the word namespace, okay, and in the namespace, this is syntax we use always. We always write namespace dot system. And what I mean by namespace, namespace means, okay, guys, understand this concept, because this concept will explain you one more, syntax of the Python. So what I mean by namespace, so if you talk about this example, so this module we are loading, okay, let me draw in the diagram, you can link properly. So so meaning of the namespace is, if you use the import function, go to this program file, and load all the functions from this program file. Okay, and not only the function, they will load even though if you have variables also. For example, if I open my student, or let's say in this program file, we say fee of this year would be, let's say, this one. Okay, or let's say name or country would be, let's say India. Okay, so guys, this is just a normal variable in the Python. Okay, but you know what happened whenever you call this program file with the import keyword, how to call? Obviously by running this file. Okay, so you know what happened? Okay, when you call this, okay, what happened? Sorry, when I call this, they will import this file. In this file, guys, whatever you have, they call. By chance, they give the error, but this error looks, they are also calling this. Why we have this error, you guys know, because obviously this is the string, right? So we have to write in the string. Okay, so they call it. But but you know what, guys, in your module file, if you use any variable, okay, they also call it. But if you want to use this, how can you use? Again the same way. So again the same way. So I can say we have one variable called fee, but this fee is not in my the code or py file. We haven't defined any fee here. This fee you can find in my module file or my program file, or this fee you can find in my namespace, and then and then path of my namespace is this one. So go inside this namespace or go to this variable or reference, you will find this variable. And understand one thing, guys, this is a variable, right? And this is a function. Because this is a function, we have to call this, or this is a method, we have to call in this way. But this is just the variable, and the way you call the variable, this is the way you call the variable. And normally we have to print the variable also if you want to print the output. Okay, and now if I run this code, so if I run this code, you can see output also come. So I would like to give one more vocabulary here. In the normal programming file, let's forget about the module. In the normal programming file, okay, this is known as function and this is known as a variable. But this file, if you don't treat as a normal file, if you want to treat as a module, so in the module perspective, okay, first of all, module we always call from other file. Or you can think in this way. This is again one of the way to include the file. So from one file, if you want to run other file, or for one file you want to get all the code of other file, it is also known as include. So this is again, guys, one of the way in the Python to include other file code. Okay, so you don't have, so your final file becomes smaller. Maybe this file maybe hundreds of lines of code or 1,000 lines of code, you don't have to type again. So again, finally you are managing the thing of managing my main program file that we have to always run. Okay, second thing is, if you have this, if this file treat as a module, so in the module world, function is known as method and the variable is known as a property. So fee is one of the property of the student, or maybe fee is one of the property of this module, of this namespace. So fee is known as, we can use the word variable, but it is known as the property. C is also one of the property. So if you want to find, can you please tell me the property of the student country? So they say these students, all the students maybe belongs to India. It's something like this. Okay, and guys, this is the same concept we will continue about the method concept and the property concept. And we'll discuss more in deep dive when we go to the concept called object-oriented programming, when we talk about object and classes, other things. So we'll discuss there in more in detail. But this is the vocabulary normally we use. But finally, guys, the complete conclusion till now, we are talking about the management of the code. So think, if this is the main code you want to run, see, it's very clear, very clean. Entire code is there, right? Or maybe I'm now this time this code right now is written by me, but maybe this code written by my other developers, or maybe I downloaded from somewhere from the internet. If I want to use, I just have to call it. I have to just import this. And that's what we have done till now, right? Till now what we have done, we import OS. Okay, and who write this code? Maybe somebody write, I just import it. Means entire program file will load. And in this program file, all the method that are available or function available, I keep on using it. So this again, you can think in this way. This is again one of the ways. So maybe you write your code, a program file, and give to somebody, and somebody use your file by load or import, or something like this. Okay, this is one thing. Second thing, guys, I just want to give you one more interesting concept. Okay, that is just again, guys, it's pretty important to understand, right? Whenever anybody import your module or program file, okay, it's very important to know. Right now, this program file is very small, only 2 functions, very small, 2 or 3 lines of code or functions we have. But internally, what is happening? My system, my student, because the module name is my student, so internally on the RAM, this kind of variable created. It is also known as a namespace. and the entire code is load on the RAM. Till now is good. There's no challenge because the code is only 4 or 5 lines of code. That's okay. But in the real world, whenever you create a module, your code may be thousands and thousands of lines, or maybe thousands of pages actually, I can say. Okay, it means if anybody want to use one of the function, maybe this module maybe have 100 functions, and every function may 100 lines of code, maybe thousands of lines of code you have. Okay, but somebody if somebody want to use only this function, or maybe this function only, they don't want to use this remaining 99 function, 100 function, right? They want to use only this function. Okay, but if you import this function, okay, the entire code or all the function load on the RAM. So it unwanted impact the RAM, or because RAM is very costly, I can say, in terms of space and money. Okay, so they want unwanted take the space from the RAM. So if your requirement is if your requirement is to use this module, and this module you want to use only, let's say, this function only, right? So what can you do? What can you say here? You tell the Python that I would like to import this program file, or I can say module, but in this module I don't want in my namespace, in my area, or in my variable, entire code has been loaded. I only want to load this code in my namespace. So it will save my RAM space, and I will, because I need this, so I will focus on this definition of function and method. So how can you do this? For this, let me open this file. For this, we have one syntax in the Python. So technically what I'm looking for to import only one function. Let's say its function name is st1, and from the module called myStudent. So guys, this is the keyword we use normally. So, and this is very commonly used keyword in the module world. Normally in the language we use a module, like in Python we always use the module. In the module world, this is a very commonly used syntax. So it will save your memory, or I can say it will save your space. And if you guys talk about code optimization, right? So it will save the space complexity, means they save the space. It won't unwanted consume your space. So it will somehow help you. That's all. Okay. So it means this statement say I would like to go to this module, and from this module, okay, I'm looking to only import this particular function and the method. And you know what? Now if you try to run this one, well, let me remove this line just for small, just for testing. So now if you guys try to run this code again, okay, with Python 3, it failed again. They say I don't know who is my student. And guys, this is very much interesting. They even say who is my student also, I also don't know. You know why? Because this function will also do one more thing. Okay, this function or this concept also help you one more way. Whenever you use a keyword called from, okay, it means what you're talking about. Okay, what you're talking about, what actually it will do for you. Okay, before this, let me explain you one more concept. Okay, one more concept. It's very interesting concept of the Python. I might use a lot in the future classes. So for example, if you go to Python, okay, right now guys, this is the module we have. And if you want to use this module, you can either write a separate code the way I used, or maybe you can use the normal Python interpreter the way we always use in my initial classes. Okay, so if you see here guys, this is normal Python interpreter. And in this Python interpreter, I would like to use this module. How? Simply the import function we can use here also. Simple, right? It load. Or because I load this module, this variable created, or this namespace created, and in this namespace, all the function that is available I can call. So it is exactly same the way I use in this code. Because you guys know whatever I write in the program file, same you can do with the Python interpreter. So nothing very much unique. It's pretty straightforward. But what I'm talking about, whenever you whenever you import any module, okay, the entire code of this module, or I can say all the function or method they load. You guys know. But if you want to see all the, I can say the method name or the function name that is reside inside this box or namespace, here we can use a keyword called dir. And I can say, can you please tell me all the functions name or method name inside this module or in this namespace. So guys, if you see here, they show you in this namespace or in this box, okay, in this box, we have this function, we have this function, and by chance they have two properties also. We have this property and this property. So they show you in this namespace, these are the functions they load. But if you notice one more thing, they show you some more extra functions name or maybe the property name. Okay, for example, loader or file or doc or packages or built-in or name. It's not created by us, right? It's not created by us. So you know why they have given you some extra name here, right? Because we have some small more discussion on this topic in our future class again. But so whenever guys you import any module, they create a one namespace on the RAM, and in the namespace they put two things. They put the two things, right? The one thing they put two things. One thing is they put all the method or the variable, I can say, properties created by us in this namespace, or I can say in this module. That is the property or method created by us. It's called user created thing. Or there's some extra method property they also put in this namespace that is created by the Python, or I can say they created by the system. It's called system related method and the properties. Okay, and sometime you can also consider they will these system related properties is a kind of metadata, is a kind of extra information about this namespace. And Python trying to say that I know about this namespace, I am the one who created on and put on the RAM, so I should know about this guy, because I should know about this one that's called information, or I can say the metadata. And just for example, let's say one of the metadata is name, or one of the system property of this namespace name. It's called __name __. Okay, and what Python is trying to say, they say I know something extra about this namespace, so I can use somewhere in the future. For example, Python say I at least know about the name. If somewhere I would like to use this name of this guy, I can use, and the name of this guy is stored in this variable. By chance we know the name, but they also store this name. And Python say I know this name and I store this name in some of my variable. Means if you run my student dot fee, this is the property we have created. Is user created property. But if you use my student dot __ name __, this is again the property. But this property is not created by us. Python interpreter or system has created for us. And what this property contain? Just the name of the same module, nothing very fancy. But maybe somewhere in some of the example this might be useful, or maybe other property might be useful. But why I'm saying this, okay, by this example I'm trying to tell you two things, and guys, very interesting, and it will also help you to understand other programming language also. Okay, so what I'm trying to tell you by this example, okay, Python is trying to tell that yes, we have one namespace created. Namespace this one, or I can say this one. So this is the namespace name they're talking about. And why we create this namespace? Because you have imported, right? Otherwise I won't create. So guys, whenever you want to create namespace, you have to use import function. But guys, please go to this line. But there's one namespace. There is one namespace Python always create for you. Okay, either you import or either you don't import. Whenever you execute Python code or launch Python interpreter, it's the same thing. Okay, Python always create one extra namespace for you. Okay, and you guys know the use of namespace. Namespace means it's like a box. All the variables you create, all the functions you create, it always reside inside this box. It always manage inside this reference or the namespace. For example, these are the methods, these are the variables. These reside inside this box, and this box we have given the name called my student namespace. Okay, but but if you see here, okay, but you see here, for example, in the Python code, if I directly write a variable called 5, it's a variable, right? And if you directly call a function called print, a function, or if you directly create a function here, directly, for example, Linux world function with, let's say, print hi, this function created. Okay, so guys, this is also function, this is also variable. I can say this might be one of the property, or this may be one of the, sorry, this might be one of the method, or this may be one of the property. Okay, so where this property and method reside, again, this should be in some of the box, or some of the module, or some of the namespace. Okay, so you know what I'm talking about. Till now, whatever you are doing in the Python, all the variable and function, either you create or you call, because you guys know every print is also like a function, equals to is also like a function. Okay, so so all the function, guys, till now is also the part of one of the namespace that Python always create whenever you run the Python or call the Python interpreter. And name of that function is underscore underscore main underscore underscore. This is name of the namespace. How can you see? Okay, so if you want to see the name of this namespace, you write dot underscore to name. They say name of your namespace obviously is your same, right? But if you don't directly write underscore underscore name underscore underscore, means you are asking right now Python that you are just execute yourself. You are interpreter, or you just started yourself, executed yourself. Can you tell me which namespace you are in? What your name? What your main namespace name? So guys, what do you show? They show you mean. Mean. So you know what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about. Till date, all the code means variables or the functions, whatever you write or run or create, I can say, in the Python. Okay, everything is managing inside a box called main. Main. And guys, this is the exact same thing if anybody know language called C or language called Java, or maybe other language, maybe for example Dart language, right? So so there, guys, it is compulsory, right? If you want to write any code or run any code, okay, the main the main gateway to enter inside the code, inside the program, is the main function. So what I mean by this, there is some discussion in the Python in the future classes we will talk on. But by chance, if you guys know, by chance if you know any other language, we use main. But there we have to manually or exclusively call the main function to do something. But in the Python, we don't have to worry about. Python say almost all the basic commonly used thing I will do for you. Just start writing the code. So you know, it is something like this. Let me first share this screen to you. So it is something like this. As soon as you call the Python, okay, it create one box for you. It create one environment to you, or I can say it create one namespace, or I can say it create one or launch one main. Maybe you can say main function for you. You can think in this way. And now good thing is, you know this, you don't know this, even though till now we don't know this, right? So they say you don't worry about, but internally I have done this for you. Only thing you have to do, you just start writing the code and run the code. Writing the code, run the code. That's all. That's what we are doing here. You don't focus more about, it's like in C we write void main or Java also. If you guys by chance know those languages, but here you don't have to worry about. But internally, the way Java work or the C work, it is also same way Python work. But Python try to do lots of things for you out of the box, so we don't have to worry about these concepts, right? But they are also doing. So why I'm explaining this thing, this concept we gonna use a lot in some of the great examples to manage something. Okay, but there's one more small thing, right? It means, right, whenever you execute Python, it is compulsory, again I'm repeating, it is compulsory to put all the code in this box or in this namespace called main. It is exactly same. By chance, if you know C or Java, if you want to run any code in C or Java language, many functions, okay, you have to put those function or variable inside the main function. So for the programming perspective, you can think main function, main namespace is the normally we use this word called entry point. Okay, so if you want to enter this code or this program, you first go inside, and this will give you all the code written. So whatever code you want to run, execute, use, you can do it. So you can think in this way. Okay, but if you again use import, and let's say this is one of the module we have created called, let's say, my student. So you know what this will do? This will do. Okay, so finally, now by this we have two namespaces. So one namespace is this one. Who created? We haven't created. Python automated for you out of the box. But if you use import, so we already have this box is called main, and if you use import, we have one more box. It's called my student. But if you notice, guys, here in my student we have multiple methods called function, like st1 that we had created, st2 that we had created today. Okay, but maybe my student has as much functions you have, as much variable property you have. But in any of the cases, if you want to run this or from this box or namespace, you have to go to main box, right? How? Like this. Where I'm in the main box, right? See here, I'm in the main box. And I go to main box and say, there's somewhere in some box we have st1 function, and the name of that box or namespace called my student. Okay, so guys, I'm writing this statement where? Inside my main box. So all the code, whatever you write till now, whatever you run in the future, it should be run from the main box. So main is my main entry point or main place where we do everything. And it's not like for Python it is not visible, but in other language it is very visible because we have to write a main function there. Okay, so technically from the main I'm asking, go here, get this code, load and run it. Okay, run this. But if you have this kind of requirement, for example, you think, no, I don't want to have extra box to manage by the Python by memory. I don't want this box. But in this, from this module, we have this function. I will have to use this code. So there's one way, guys, in the Python. What can we do without creating extra box or extra namespace? We can go to this module, get this code, and entire code we can load directly on the main. Okay, directly on the main. And how we can do? Again, guys, from keyword. Technically, the from keyword is actually doing the same thing for. Let me exit from this function again to clean my code. Again, go to Python. Okay, so whenever you use from keyword, right? From keyword behind the scene doing this thing for you. Okay, and guys, that is one of the reason why we use from keyword. From keyword is very much optimized. Two things they're doing. First of all, from keyword is not creating extra environment or namespace for you. It saves the memory somehow. Second thing is, okay, but they go inside this module without creating namespace, get the entire code or entire function and load the entire function in the memory of main. Or because they load directly on the memory of main, so I can use this function the normal way, the way we use always here. We don't have to write mystudent.st1. We can directly execute. It look like this. It look like this. That this function we have created here only. You know, normally when we create a function, you normally create a function. Okay, for example. So, you know, whenever guys you create a function, technically this function directly create inside the main. So that is the reason we can directly call it. We don't have to write dot something like this. Okay. But this function created somewhere else. But even though I am running normally, the way I'm calling the function that is created on the main. And who gives this kind of beauty? A from function. So guys, I know I'm taking a lot of time on this discussion. Normally, none of the Python training anywhere in the world from keyword normally we complete just in 2 minutes. And we use the syntax, show you the output and this demo and done. But here guys, my motto is not to only show you the from keyword syntax and how to use. I'm trying to explain you how internally it works, and I don't think so none of the document explain you this concept in so much detail. But I'm trying to explain you first of all a little bit internal about Python, how they constructed, plus how the namespace work and how the from keyword work behind the scene. And I'm just trying to show you the power of from, and that is it guys. It's always good practice. When I want to use the module, always try to use the from. Even though if you have this kind of requirement, and you think in this module there's a lot of function, I would have to use all the functions. Even though in this case also you can use from. How? It is something like this. So I can say from, go to this module and load all the functions. Technically it will load all the code. I can call st1, I can call st2, st1. It will load all the code, but so technically it won't save the memory, but at least they won't create extra namespace for you, because more and more namespace we create in the one programming interpreter world, it become harder to manage the things, and thing is harder to manage. It will impact the code and the performance also. So here guys, I'm also talking about performance and the how to optimize the code. Okay, so everywhere in the Python world, you see whenever you create your own module or somebody other module, if you use, mostly we always use from. But why we use from, I am trying to explain every bit about this. And one more small thing guys I would like to talk to you here is, if you import the OS module, again it's not good way, but let me import. Okay, but what is OS? It's module. But technically, you know, you guys know module is just a I can say a program file. But if you're interested to see where this program file located, you just write OS, enter. It show you that OS is a module, but this module is located in this URL in the path. And because they give you path, so I open new terminal and I can use gedit text editor and go to this path. So what the interesting thing is, because this OS is a module or a program file created by somebody, okay, so I can go inside this code and I can read the code. So it's a great way to guys to read somebody code. It will give you extra knowledge and learning. Because this is a code written by somebody, and if you see here, this code has one function, this code has second function, and if you keep on checking, lots of functions they have. Because what is module? Module means module contain a lot of functions. Okay, so maybe it might take some time to understand this code. For example, they have one of the function called rmdir, or maybe if you just go and find, for example, you are interested to see how system function created, just go to this file code and search, and you will see the entire code of system function, because system is a commonly used function, we use it. Okay, so if you are interested, because Python is open source and almost all the module is open source here, so you can go and read the code of other, maybe you want to read the code of NumPy or Pandas or whatever the guys modules, you know, you can just, this is one of the way you can do. Or because we know this program file is located in this folder. So what can I do? I just go inside this folder with cd command and do ls. So mainly all the Python related module you will find here. So guys, you see lots of modules we have: warning module, UID module, type statify modules. So a lot of modules that is available in my computer. Maybe you can find somewhere OS module. This is the OS module we have. So all the module we have, you can open the code and read the code if you want to know extra how they have been created. But one more thing, guys, I want to tell you here is okay. By chance, guys, we have created our module in this folder. The module name is called mystudent.py, and this module we have created in this folder. But if I go to any other folder or any other path, so let me go to other path called /root. This is one of the folder I'm going, and from here, if I try to import the module that we have created, until now it is working great, but now here I'm trying to import, it failed, and they said no module found. Okay, why? Because guys, whenever we import any module, they will look in the current folder and try to find, does this current folder contain this module, or it is equals to, does this current folder contain my student.py file? Because this folder, guys, doesn't contain this file, because this file I created in other folder or other location. So this is the reason, guys, they are not able to find. Okay, but if I import OS, it loaded. You know how it works? As soon as I import any module, they first go to current folder. And guys, if you try to go to this folder and try to read the content in this folder, you won't find any file that os.py, even though they imported. Why? Because whenever guys they try to look this file inside this folder, if they don't find, then they go to one of the specific location in their system. What I mean by this, right? So whenever, guys, you import any module, import command always look for this file.py in your current folder. If they're able to find, they load it. Okay, but if don't able to find, then they go and look inside this folder. Again, this is it is one of the internal folder of the Python. Okay, where Python manage all the modules, all the program files. Okay, and this is a it is a internally set folder in the Python for managing the module. Technically, it is called Python path or Python module path. So it is a one of path or folder where Python say if you would be in any of the folder, it doesn't matter. You would be in this folder, you would be in any other folder, right? If anything located in this folder, okay, I will go and load for you. So what I'm trying to tell you guys here is, right, if you have this requirement that you want to import this module from any of the other folders or any other location, and this is very common thing we always do. So always manage this file or the module, right, in this Python centralized folder. So it's called Python module path. So what I'm talking about, if you think this is your module, don't maintain this folder, just copy this module in the folder called usr lib 64. And so guys, if you know path, like path in Windows or path or environmental variable concepts in Linux, it is same thing. So this is a path for the module. Now good thing is, now this module is copied in this centralized Python path. So the good thing is, now if you go to any of the folder, for example, I'm just going some random folder, okay, and from here if I try to run Python code or Python interpreter, same thing, and here if I call my student, okay, so in this current folder, so Python or import keyword will go to this folder first, they don't find this, then second they go to this path, and because in this path we have already copied, so they load from there. And how can I confirm? If I run this my student, you can see this module is loaded from here. So guys, it's always normally good practice to if you after create the module, is a good way to manage the module over here. So from anywhere we can import this module and use it. Okay. So how to create the module, I explained, because nothing special. Program file is also known as the module, but the important thing in the module is a planning or the management. But lots of extra concept about the module I explained. Even though the concept I explained is called main function or main module, it's very interesting. Maybe in some of the future classes, this concept somewhere we will use. So that's all, guys, for today. We have some more advanced discussion on the functions we might discuss tomorrow. And the task that I have given you today to call multiple function in parallel, we might also discuss tomorrow how to solve this. And for this, we might have to use some more new concepts, right? So that's all for today. Any query if you have. So I'm enabling your chat message and box here. So any of the queries, guys, if you have, you can ask me. So just give me 1 minute. Let me enable the live chat. Okay. So guys, your chat box has been enabled from my side. Okay. If it's not, if it's still not come up, so just go back in the link, come back, it will pop up, and then you can ask your query. Okay. Again, guys, I'm repeating, it is a topic of 5 minutes. I can complete this topic in 5 minutes. Practically you might have do this, practically implement, but what exactly happening behind the scene, what happening behind the core level of concept I explain you, very rarely it is given in none of the lecture and the tutorials also. And I think you should know this, and I think if you try to relate, this is the way how C language or Java work, right? But if you want, we will discuss more in depth about what I'm talking about. Why we not use namespace before print? Because it's already there in the main. Because we already somebody asked me, because it is already there in the we already in the main function, right? And anything it is located in the main module of name or main namespace, we don't have to write __ main _ dot something. Okay, it is the way it is designed that anything inside the main, or because main is the main entry point, they will run whatever that they have in the main box or main namespace. Balwinder, you asked me from QHER import keyword is imported. Balwinder, if you can little bit properly explain what exactly you're asking here, right? Please solve how we can ask your query on LinkedIn. Ayush, you can ask your query here, or I think everybody has a part of some of the WhatsApp group initially we have created in the IIEC. You can ask there, or if you want to ask me if your query is not yet solved, so you can post your query in my LinkedIn message. I will answer you. For some time, guys, I was not active because of I was not well. So but nowadays I start responding, giving the response in my LinkedIn messages. Abhishek, today we have just created a module, but if you want to create library is a different thing. Maybe if you want, we might discuss in the future how to create your library also. Okay, so today we have created a module. We haven't created library. Library is a different concept. Yes, somebody asked me, can we use time.sleep for parallel execution? No, what you tell me, you're telling me here, it is some of the example available in the market, but time.sleep is not used for parallel execution. For demo, we can use somewhere, but it's not used for parallel execution. Akash, I think I explained you already from keyword, right? From keyword is a way to get the function or method from other module and load into the main namespace. What is some module? There's one topic we will discuss in the future. we will discuss in the future about packages. There I will talk a little bit about what is some module. Attendance, again guys, attendance will be the same way the initially the process we was doing. So we will provide you a link where you can put your attendance. Okay. Yes, Rohit, I told you in my today's class, after we'll complete all the core topics of the language, like today we cover module, then we'll start picking one by one topic, for example, Flask or CJ or API. But yeah, soon we will start the Flask. Subyan, how you health? Now is better. I am recovering. Now is better. How we can read the code of the print? It is Manasvi. It is available in there's two way. We have a way to open the Python interpreter code. Maybe if you want, I'll show you in my future classes. Or if you search in the Google that source code for the print function in of Python, somewhere you also get it. So guys, that's all. I think most of the query you asked me is been discussed. Some of the query what you asking me, maybe some in other one of my some topic it will because I'm not addressing those query over here. Okay, so yes, Pankaj, NumPy will upcoming class will go in depth, right? Don't worry, NumPy pandas we will. It's not complete. I told you already, guys. None of the topic pandas NumPy is completed. We have started, but yeah, we'll start discussing in detail in in upcoming classes, right? So guys, maybe I'll try to touch as much as query I have. Maybe some of the query might be missed by me. Don't worry, it will definitely be covered in some of my classes while explaining some of the topic, guys. So that's all, guys, for today. See you in tomorrow class, guys, with the same timing. Bye, take care, see you.